Yankee Stadium, hot summer afternoon. Ruth steps into batter's box, grips bat, plants feet, ready. Pitcher on mound stares at him. Not normal stare, hostile stare, angry stare, something personal behind those eyes. First pitch comes, not toward strike zone, toward Ruth's head. 95 miles per hour. Fastball aimed directly at skull. Ruth sees it late. Ducks, falls backward, hits dirt hard. Ball misses by inches. Would have killed him, or at minimum put him in hospital for weeks, maybe ended career. Ruth gets up slowly, dusting off uniform, heart pounding. That was not accident. That was intentional. That was message. Umpire walks toward mound, warning pitcher. Control your pitches or you're gone. Pitcher shrugs. Ball slipped. Umpire not convinced, but can't prove intent. Returns behind plate. Ruth back in box, trying to calm breathing. Trying to focus, but mind racing. Someone just tried to hurt him, tried to end him. Why? Second pitch, also inside, not at head this time, but close, too close. Brushing Ruth back, making him uncomfortable, making him scared. Ruth steps out, looks at pitcher, pitcher smiling, cold smile, cruel smile, then says something. Loud enough for Ruth to hear, loud enough for everyone near plate to hear. What's wrong, babe? Scared? You look scared. Big tough Babe Ruth, scared of little baseball. Ruth freezes. That word. Scared. Coward. That accusation. Worse than beaning. Worse than physical threat. Attacking his courage, his manhood, his reputation. Ruth stares at pitcher, says nothing. But something changes in his eyes. Something dark. Something dangerous. Umpire calls, "Batter up!" Ruth steps back into box, pitcher still smiling. It's still confident, still thinking he won, thinking he broke Babe Ruth, made him afraid, made him hesitate. Third pitch coming. Ruth watches, outside, ball one, fourth pitch, high, ball two. Pitcher losing control now, or maybe trying too hard, trying to paint corners, trying to make Ruth chase. But Ruth patient, waiting. Fifth pitch, down middle, perfect pitch. Ruth swings, misses completely. Strike one. Crowd groans, pitcher laughs. See? Scared, can't even hit fastball down middle. Ruth says nothing, returns to stance. Ready for next pitch, but mind working, calculating, understanding something. This pitcher is emotional, this pitcher is personal, this pitcher has agenda, and emotional pitchers make mistakes. Sixth pitch. Curveball, low, ball three, full count now. 3-2, everything on next pitch. Pitcher has to throw strike. Can't walk Babe Ruth, can't put him on base for free, has to challenge him, has to throw something hittable. Ruth knows this, pitcher knows Ruth knows this. Game within game, psychology battle. Who blinks first? Pitcher winds up, throws, fastball, middle high, good location, but hittable. Ruth swings, not desperate swing, not scared swing. Powerful swing, confident swing, perfect swing, crack. Sound echoes through stadium, ball launching, not normal launch, special launch, ball rising. Higher than usual, farther than usual, going, going, going. Over outfield fence, over bleachers, over wall behind bleachers, into street, 500 feet, maybe more. Longest home run hit at Yankee Stadium that season. Maybe longest ever. Ball just keeps going, disappearing into distance. Ruth rounds bases, slowly, deliberately, watching pitcher entire time. Pitcher standing on mound, frozen, face pale, glove hanging limply at side, watching ball disappear, understanding what just happened, understanding he made terrible mistake. Ruth reaches second base, pitcher still frozen. Ruth reaches third, pitcher starting to realize. Crowd on feet, screaming, applauding, not just because home run, because of what home run meant, because of context, because pitcher called Ruth scared, and Ruth responded by hitting ball into next county. That's not scared, that's dominance, that's statement. Ruth crosses home plate, teammates waiting, celebrating, slapping back, high-fiving. But Ruth barely acknowledging them, just staring at pitcher, making eye contact, sending message without words. Message received loud and clear. You called me coward. You threw at my head. You tried to intimidate me. And I just destroyed your best pitch. That's answer. That's who I am. That's Babe Ruth. Pitcher shaken, visible, shoulders slumped, confidence shattered, manager coming out of dugout, walking to mound, having conversation, pitcher arguing, wanting to stay in game, but manager shaking head, pulling him, removing him from game, not because of performance, because of mental state, because pitcher is done, broken, can't pitch anymore today. Ruth's home run didn't just score run, it ended pitcher's day, ended his confidence, ended his swagger, new pitcher coming in, relief pitcher, looking nervous, knowing what just happened, knowing Ruth just hit 500-foot home run after being called coward, knowing he's next. Dangerous position. Very dangerous position. But game must continue. New pitcher throws warm-up pitches, takes deep breath. Ready. Or trying to be ready. Ruth won't bat again for few innings, but damage done. Psychological damage. Entire opposing team knows what happened. Saw their pitcher call out Babe Ruth, saw Ruth's response, saw their pitcher get pulled. Message sent to entire roster. Don't provoke Babe Ruth. Don't challenge him personally. Don't make it personal. Because when Babe Ruth gets angry, when Babe Ruth gets motivated, when Babe Ruth has point to prove, nobody can stop him. But what led to this moment? Why did pitcher call Ruth coward? Why throw at his head? What created this personal animosity? Story begins 3 years earlier. Same teams, different game. Ruth was younger then, not yet legendary, still building reputation, still proving himself. That game, Ruth faced same pitcher, young pitcher then, rookie, confident, cocky. Ruth hit home run off him. Not special home run, just regular home run. But pitcher took it personally, thought Ruth showed him up, thought Ruth disrespected him. After home run, as Ruth rounded bases, pitcher said something. Ruth ignored it, didn't think much of it, just rookie talking trash. Happens all time in baseball. But pitcher didn't forget, carried grudge for 3 years, waiting for revenge, waiting for opportunity. And today was that opportunity. Today pitcher decided, I'm going to show Babe Ruth. I'm going to make him look weak, make him look scared, make him pay for embarrassing me 3 years ago. Bad decision, very bad decision. Because you don't carry grudges against Babe Ruth. You don't try to embarrass him. You don't make it personal. Because when Ruth feels disrespected, when Ruth feels challenged, like when Ruth has score to settle, he doesn't argue, doesn't complain, doesn't talk. He just destroys you. With bat, with power, with performance. That's his language. That's his revenge. If you're enjoying this story and want to see more incredible baseball moments, please hit that subscribe button. And drop a comment below. Have you ever had someone doubt you only to prove them completely wrong? Share your story. Now, back to what happened next. 3 innings later, Ruth comes to bat again. Same pitcher still out of game, but Ruth has another chance. New pitcher on mound, trying to be careful, trying not to repeat mistake. Throws strikes, good pitches. Nothing too close inside, nothing threatening. Respecting Ruth, fearing Ruth. Smart approach. Ruth hits single, not home run, just solid single, but doesn't need home run. Egg already made point, already sent message, game continues, Yankees winning. Ruth's home run made difference, 1-run game, that 500-foot blast providing margin of victory. After game, reporters flood Ruth's locker, questions flying. Babe, that home run, that was something special. Was good hit, more than good, that was statement. After he threw at your head, after he called you scared. What were you thinking in that moment? Ruth pauses, choosing words carefully. I was thinking, he made mistake, big mistake. You don't try to scare me. You don't call me names, you pitch, I hit, that's game. But when you make it personal, when you try to intimidate, then it becomes different. Then I have to respond. And I respond with bat. Were you angry? No, anger makes you sloppy. Makes you swing at bad pitches. I wasn't angry. I was focused. Yeah, I was motivated. I was determined. That's different. That's better. What about the pitcher calling you coward? Ruth's jaw tightens. Nobody calls me that. Nobody. I've been hit by pitches before. Thrown at before. It's part of game. But calling me scared, calling me coward, that crosses line. That makes it personal. And when it's personal, I don't back down. ever. Do you think he regrets it? I know he does, because he's not finishing game, because manager pulled him, because his team lost, because everyone in stadium saw what happens when you challenge Babe Ruth personally. That's regret, that's lesson, that's reminder. Reporter turns to teammate. What was it like watching that home run? Teammate grins. It was perfect, absolutely perfect. Because we all heard what pitcher said. We all saw him throw at Babe's head. And we all knew what was coming. Knew Babe was going to do something special. And he did. He always does. Other locker room, opposing team, pitcher who got pulled sitting alone, head down, humiliated, embarrassed. His manager approaches, sits beside him. What were you thinking out there? I wanted to beat him, wanted to show him. By throwing at his head, by calling him coward. I thought it would rattle him, thought he'd be scared. Scared? Babe Ruth? He's hit 500 home runs, faced 1,000 pitchers, been thrown at hundreds of times. And you thought you'd scare him? Pitcher silent, realizing stupidity of strategy. Manager continues. You didn't just lose game. You didn't just get pulled. You embarrassed yourself. You embarrassed team. You gave Ruth biggest motivation possible. You challenged his manhood, his courage. And he made you pay. 500 feet. Everyone will remember that. Everyone will remember you as pitcher who called Babe Ruth coward and then gave up longest home run of season. That's your legacy from today. Pitcher's eyes watering. I'm sorry. Don't apologize to me. Apologize to teammates. They have to hear about this for weeks, maybe months, maybe years. Remember when your pitcher called Ruth coward and Ruth hit ball into next state? That's what they'll hear. That's what you gave them. Harsh words, true words, necessary words. Pitcher made mistake, not just baseball mistake, life mistake, ego mistake. Thought he could intimidate legend, thought trash talk would work, thought making it personal would give him edge. Instead, it destroyed him. Instead, it motivated Ruth. Instead, it created moment that will be remembered forever. Not in good way, in cautionary way. As lesson, as warning, as example of what not to do. Years later, that pitcher retired, finished career with mediocre record. Nothing special, nothing memorable, except one thing. Known as guy who called Babe Ruth coward and gave up 500-foot home run. That's legacy. That's what people remember. Not his wins, not his strikeouts. That one moment, that one mistake, that one time he let ego override intelligence. He's interviewed decades later. Old man now, retired, living quiet life. Reporter asks, do you remember that game when you faced Babe Ruth? Pitcher sighs. Of course I remember. How could I forget? What were you thinking? I was young, stupid, angry. Thought I was better than I was. Thought I could beat him with intimidation, with trash talk. I was wrong. I was very wrong. Do you regret it? Every day. Not because I gave up home run. Home runs happen. That's baseball. I regret how I handled it. I regret throwing at his head. I regret calling him coward, because that wasn't baseball. That was personal attack. That was attempt to humiliate another person, and I got what I deserved. He humiliated me instead, deservedly. Did you learn anything? I learned that trying to intimidate great players doesn't work. They're great for reason. They've faced everything, seen everything. Your trash talk isn't new to them. Your inside pitches aren't scary. They've been through worse. And when you try to break them mentally, you just give them fuel, give them motivation, give them reason to destroy you. That's what I learned. Too late, but I learned. If you could go back, what would you do differently? I'd pitch, just pitch. No games, no trash talk, no inside pitches, just compete. Just try to get him out with skill, with talent, with baseball. Because that's game. Everything else is just noise, dangerous noise. Do you think Ruth respected that approach? I know he did, because after that game, years later, we ran into each other at baseball event. I was terrified, thought he'd still be angry, but he came up to me, shook my hand, said, "You threw me good pitches that day. That home run was just good hitting, no hard feelings." He separated the personal stuff from baseball. Ruth's teammates from that game also remember. One teammate, interviewed years later, tells story. That game taught me something important about Babe. Everyone knew he could hit. Everyone knew he was powerful. But that day showed different side, showed his mentality, showed his psychology, showed how he responded to disrespect. Most players, when somebody throws at their head, they get scared. They back off plate. They swing at bad pitches. They let fear control them. Or they charge mound. They fight. They get ejected. Babe did neither. He didn't get scared. Didn't get angry enough to lose control. He got focused, got motivated, got better. That's what separated him. Not just physical talent, mental strength, ability to turn disrespect into fuel, turn fear into power, turn challenge into opportunity. That's greatness. That's why he's Babe Ruth. Another teammate adds, I remember sitting in dugout watching, and we all heard pitcher call him coward. We all looked at each other thinking, oh no, that guy just made terrible mistake. Because we knew Babe, knew how he responded to personal challenges, knew that home run was coming. Maybe not 500 feet, but something special, something that would make statement. And when he hit it, when we saw ball just keep going and going, we weren't surprised. We were satisfied, like watching justice happen in real time. Guy threw at Babe's head, called him scared, and paid immediate price. That's baseball karma. That's what happens when you cross line. Story becomes famous, spreads through baseball, becomes cautionary tale. Young pitchers told, don't challenge Babe Ruth personally. Don't throw at his head. Don't call him names. Just pitch. Because if you make it personal, he'll make you regret it. Story told in dugouts, in locker rooms, in spring training camps, as warning, as lesson, as example. Some young pitchers listen, understand, respect message. Others don't. Think they're different. Think they can do what others couldn't. Think they can intimidate Ruth. They all learn same lesson. Hard way, expensive way, humiliating way. Ruth hits home, runs off all of them. Not always 500 feet, but always meaningful. Always when it matters. Always as response. Always as statement. That's his pattern. That's his method. That's his revenge. Doesn't argue. Doesn't fight. Doesn't complain. Just hits. Just dominates. Just wins. And leaves his challengers broken, embarrassed, wishing they'd kept mouths shut. Modern players sometimes asked, who's most like Babe Ruth today? Answers vary, but common theme, nobody. Because baseball different now. Players don't throw at heads anymore, don't call each other names publicly, don't make it that personal. Rules changed, culture changed, sport changed. But also, nobody has Ruth's combination, his power plus his mentality plus his ability to respond to disrespect. That combination was unique, still is unique, may always be unique. Lesson from that game echoes through decades, through generations, through entire sport. Lesson is simple but profound. Don't make it personal unless you're prepared for consequences. Don't challenge someone's courage unless you're ready to prove your own. Don't throw at someone's head unless you're ready for them to throw your best pitch into next state. Because that's what great players do. They respond, not with words, not with tantrums, not with cheap shots, with performance. All with excellence, with dominance. They take your disrespect, your challenge, your trash talk, and they convert it into motivation, into focus, into fuel, and then they destroy you. Publicly, memorably, completely. That pitcher learned this lesson, hard way, painful way, public way, but he learned and shared and warned others. And that's value of lesson, not just in learning, but in teaching, in passing forward, in helping others avoid same mistake. That 500-foot home run was more than hit, more than run, more than win. It was teaching moment, for pitcher, for team, for entire baseball world. Teaching that greatness can't be intimidated, can't be scared, can't be broken with trash talk, or inside pitches or personal attacks. Greatness responds to those things by becoming greater, by rising higher, by hitting farther. That's what Ruth did. And that's what legends do. That's why they're legends. When Ruth died, that pitcher was asked if he'd attend funeral. He said, I'm not sure I'm welcome. I disrespected him, tried to hurt him, called him coward. He went anyway, stood in back, paying respects. After service, Ruth's widow saw him, walked over. Thank you for coming, pitcher surprised. I didn't think I should, given our history. She smiled, sad smile. Babe held no grudges. He understood you were young, made mistake. He respected that you apologized, that you learned, that you became better person. That's all he ever wanted, for people to grow, to learn, to improve. You did that. He would have appreciated you being here. Pitcher cried. Not from sadness, from gratitude. From understanding that legend he once challenged, once disrespected, once called coward. I had forgiven him, had seen his growth, had respected his journey. That's legacy too. Not just Ruth's baseball legacy, his human legacy. His ability to forgive, to understand, to see potential in people even after they wronged him. That's greatness beyond sport. That's character that transcends statistics. That's reason Babe Ruth isn't just remembered as great player, but as great person. And that 500-foot home run, still remembered, still talked about, still taught as lesson. Not just about hitting, about responding, about channeling disrespect into excellence, about proving doubters wrong, not with words, but with actions. That's power of performance. That's message of that moment. That's legacy of that game. Pitcher threw at Ruth's head, called him coward, and Ruth hit next ball 500 feet away. Pitcher didn't finish game. That didn't finish day with dignity, but finished life with lesson learned, with wisdom gained, with understanding that greatness responds to challenge by being greater, always, every time, forever. If this story inspired you to respond to doubt with action, please subscribe for more incredible moments from baseball history. And comment below. What's your 500-foot response? How do you prove people wrong when they doubt you? Share your story.